Hello, everyone, and welcome to Yes, I'm a Mom. My name is Tanisha Lacey, and before I get started, I just want to remind you to like and subscribe. And also, if you want to follow me on social media, you can do that on Instagram and Facebook at Bay Area Leisure. That's for both pages. So, to jump right in, today I just kind of wanted to talk about the job I had for 17 years and how that affected me and how it brought me to where I am today, and the realization that came about with the birth of my daughter and everything that's going on with me now. So to start off, so I started at this grocery store. It'll just be the grocery store. I started there a year after my son was born. So, and I was there 17 years. So now I really have to think, like, how old was I then? It had to be 19, 20, something like that. So anyway, when I started there, it really was just a job to have, and I must admit that I did not have a plan. And initially, I didn't mind it, but a few years went by, and eventually I came to hate it. And over the years, I felt myself changing in ways where I just knew that I wasn't honoring my higher self. I knew that there was something more that I was supposed to be doing, and one of those things was just the fact that I'm a very creative person, and that job didn't allow me to express that. And at that time, I didn't have any avenues that I knew of to express, those things. And so I did deal with a lot of depression over the years, but that was also something that kind of stemmed from my own childhood. But the job definitely didn't help. And ultimately it became one of those things where you just know you're way past your expiration date somewhere, and you just feel kind of dead inside. And so I ended up just finally reaching a point where all the complaining was over and done. That was it. I couldn't go any further with that. I didn't want to talk about it. It was time to just be about it. When I finally did leave, I didn't even have a plan. It was completely spur of the moment, and I know that can be scary for a lot of people, and it wasn't like I had savings put to the side or anything like that. I just finally had to honor what my soul had been telling me, which was, you don't belong here. And there's nothing wrong with people who work there, and I met a lot of cool people who I'm still in touch with. It's just that I feel that we have, there's a time and a place for everything, and I had my time there, and it was time for me to move on. So in trying to grow within myself and step out of that stagnant place I had been for so long, I went ahead and just took a leap. It just so happened that right before I left, I had gotten back in touch with an old high school friend who owned a brokerage, and I had just taken real estate classes on a whim I think that year before? Yeah, the year before, that summer. So I took all 3 classes in this 2-month summer course. And so things just lined up in such a way that the way I perceived it was, God was kind of laying things out for me. Yes, you're finally listening to what I've been trying to tell you to do. So here are the steps. Everything's just gonna, fall into place. And that's really kind of what happened. So that's how I ended up at the brokerage that I'm at now. And within that, I am finding myself really getting my creative mojo back. So for example, the fact that I'm even launching this lifestyle brand, and the fact that I'm even doing this podcast, and with my real estate and with all of these different avenues, I do all of my own marketing. I set up my own website, and I don't have any previous experience with this, but it's just that I know what I like. And as I'm showing these things and sharing them with my friends and loved ones, you know, everyone's kind of like, oh wow, you did that? You know, like they didn't even know. And I mean, honestly, I didn't even know that I could do some of these things, but I'm getting to the point now where anything that comes my way, I'm completely open to the experience and the opportunity, and I just kind of want to touch everything. So this leads back to my daughter, because I feel as though going through the relationship with her father, I won't speak too much on that, but it brought about feelings within myself that I guess had been there already, but he was the catalyst to get things moving and to get me thinking and to get me actually acting on my life. And so if it wasn't for meeting him and having her, I think that I don't know if I would have finally had that breakthrough. So I definitely appreciate both of them for that. And it's just interesting now that, you know, having her and finally growing past that place, now here I am finally wanting to experience all these things that I didn't do in my 20s, because let's be honest, that's usually when people are kind of trying things out and moving around from job to job. It's in their 20s. You know, like you might have 15 different jobs. So I had the same job from, you know, when I was in my teens until earlier this year, and I'm 37. So I don't have a lot of work experience anywhere else. But now I'm feeling this type of freedom that has me wanting to try everything, and it's exciting and it feels good, and I'm loving it right now. So I mean, even the fact that I'm talking to you guys right now, like that's new for me. And to be completely honest, I have a very introverted personality, and I feel that part shifting, and that too has to do with my daughter. She's just so lively and so sassy, and she's very opposite of my son. He is very cool, calm, collected, quiet, very logical. He's just always been very laid back ever since he was a baby. And my daughter is just the complete opposite, total firecracker, just opinionated already at 2. I mean, she knows what she wants and she will let you know it. So I am being influenced by her as well, you know, every day. And I'm just realizing how much, you know, you really draw on the things around you. And when you finally start putting one foot in front of the other in one aspect of life, you know, you will be rewarded with just that progression. So for a long time I stayed at that job that I hated because I felt like I didn't go to college, and I was kind of feeling like I wouldn't be able to go anywhere else and make the money that I was making there, because I mean, to be honest, it was a fairly decent wage because I had been there a long time and I was topped out. And the places that I had applied to, the few that I had applied to, I just would never get the call back. And to be honest, I feel like that was for a reason. I feel as though strongly that none of the places that I actually applied to were places that I was supposed to be anyway. So it was kind of like, in my perspective, because I'm a very spiritual person, I feel as though those things were all happening for me, not to me. It was a bigger purpose, excuse me. I wasn't supposed to be at the grocery store, but I also wasn't supposed to be at these corporate jobs that I was applying for. And whatever it was that I was going to do was going to be something that allowed me a type of freedom and flexibility, and allowed me to express my creative side, because that's who I am. And anyone who knows me, has ever known me, knows this about me. So I mean, it just is what it is. So the one challenge I will say is, it comes back to the parenting again at home, because I have this really rambunctious child, and at the same time I have multiple things that I'm now doing career-wise and when it comes to the work-play balance, it's definitely lopsided right now. I'm not doing too much play. It's pretty much all work. If it's not this thing, it's that thing. If it's not that, it's something else. And it's emails. It's just everything all day long. So I wake up, and the first thing I check is my emails, my phone, and then I go on about my day. I do have to admit that I'm fairly unorganized, and that is my fault. And I definitely struggle with that, and I will find myself still up midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, trying to finish up things. And when you're trying to finish up one thing, it's almost never ending. You're like, okay, let me just finish this one thing. Okay, well, let me tweak this too. All right, well, let me just go ahead and just do this whole thing over. It just keeps on going. So it really takes that time. That awareness to stop yourself and just say, you know what, let me just pause, let me breathe, let me have a snack, let me just sit down for a second, let me just relax, take a bath, have a glass of wine, or whatever it is that you do, meditate and just sit with yourself for a moment. And that is something that I'm just recently beginning to incorporate more and more, trying to find that balance and really ground myself, because I can feel that overwhelming sensation at times. So it is beginning to work, and it's something that I'm going to keep pushing through. So in conclusion, to start to wrap this up, I appreciate the job that I had before, for everyone who I met there and all the experience I gained, and not just work-related experience, but life experience, because I saw a lot and I learned a lot through not only the customers and the people who I worked with, but even just things about myself. And it really catapulted me, along with my daughter's father, that meeting, even just how we met, everything, I just feel like synced up to bring me to the moment that I'm in right now, even just speaking to you guys. And it's a great feeling to be able to look back and appreciate things, even though you might not have liked it then, and you might have been upset and frustrated, but it brought me here. So I'm really thankful for that. So in closing, just to remind you, new episodes will be released every Sunday at 12, and I hope you guys are doing great. Please make sure to leave any comments. I do respond. If there's anything that you want me to talk about or you want my opinion on, just let me know, and I will be sure to do that. I should have a guest on next week, so maybe sooner than that. So look forward to that, because it's my friend and you'll love her. That's all I can say, is you have to meet her. But anyway, you guys take care, and until then, later.